Hello everyone. Thought I'd do a quick QTP here, the quick tutorial and playthrough on 5 Foot 2 Eyes of Blue. So hopefully you've got your music out. The song's a great song for the ukulele. Really suited well, has that the Roaring 20s era feel and a lot of fun to play. We took this song and we did a couple of things to it to basically just kind of spiff it up a bit. So let's just get started. We'll start right off. We put an intro into it. This intro is a C to an A diminished to an F to a G7, and we play through that twice. Now, one thing you can note, if the A diminished is hard to get to for you, using our chord substitution, in fact, I think we use this exact substitution in Till There Was You, you can play the B7 to substitute for that A diminished. If you don't have that marked on your sheet, I just take a pencil from the A diminished, just draw the line up in an arrow, put a B7 and circle it to let you know that, hey, I can play a B7 there. And that's going to sound just fine, okay? Now the other thing is the speed. That's what usually makes this a little complex, is because songs got a pretty good clip to it, and these change really fast, and we use the short strum to make that. So that's moving along at a pretty good pace there, okay? So now that you've got your substitution, if it's still difficult, you can play just the downbeats on the chords that as they play. So your C would be on 1, your B7 would be on 3, F is on 1, G7 is on 3. So it sounds like this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can get away with that. Now let's take a look at that with the baritone. Similar situation. The baritone players are playing their C like this. Their A diminished is right here. It's just a step down from you guys on the ukulele. Their F is here, and then their G7 is a roll out right there, okay? So for you baritone players, if the C is okay and getting to this diminished, you're set. If that's difficult, you can use the same substitution, that B7, which would be this to your B7, to your F, to your G7, okay? Now the thing about that is if you use the B7, notice that your second finger is right where it needs to be to play your F. It's mainly a matter of rotating everything around to grab the F. So see that elbow out there? Playing my B7 here, I'm bringing that elbow back in to grab the F. So the second finger anchors yourself from that transition from the B7 to the F, like that. Practice that. Just do that little roll. It's an elbow and wrist roll out to get to that. Then for your G7, I just roll off and kind of release my index finger, which has been covering 2 strings. You only need to cover the first string, first fret for your G7, okay? So that covers you guys. Sounds like this. I'll go on and play the diminished here. Now I'll use the B7. Okay, so that sounds great. And you can do the same thing. You can do the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If that changes too fast, just use your downbeats and stuff. Okay, let's move through the tune now. We have a first verse, then we go into our first chorus. Now what we did with the chorus is on the second line of the chorus, diamond rings and all those things, bet your life it isn't her. We do a single strum on the G7, bet your life it, and then we do a 1, 2, and on the D7 to a G7. 1, 2, and, like that. Ba, ba. Very similar to Raindrops Keep Falling. We have that little click there. So it's that same kind of a little feel, all right? So that's at the end of the choruses. Then we drop into verse 2, and here's something we need to note on verse 2. Verse 2, we play through it. Then we've put in, I believe we do the kazoo solo in here. I didn't bring my kazoo today, so we'll just have to hum this. We use the same chords as verse 2 to play the solo, but there's a little catch to it. To repeat verse 2, we had to add a G7. So you'll notice at the second line there in verse 2, it says, has anybody seen my gal? And then we play a G7. That's to get us back to the C for the kazoo solo, okay? Now you have a notation when we come down through the kazoo solo, when you sing, has anybody seen my gal? We do not play that G7. We hold on the C. If you'll notice the first verse, there's no G7 there. There's no G7 needed to get to the chorus, and that's where we're going. So after we come through the kazoos, just hold on the C, because now we're going to go to, now if you're running, and it drops down to that chorus, okay? So you should have that circled. I actually circled the G7 at the second line there, drew a line down to the notation where it says dismiss G7, so I know it's like, oh yeah, I can skip that when we come out of the solo. Drop down to the chorus. Second chorus, same as the first, has the second line where we stop on the G7, bet your life it isn't her. 1 and 2 N is how that kicks there, okay? Now, the last thing that we did is we kind of spiffed up the ending. And let's take a look at the ending, the very last line. Similar to the intro, but I wanted it to sound a little different. So notice that we have the C. I went on and put the B7 in, which if you're playing it up at the top, that's fine. What I did to change it is we put a D minor to a G7, okay? And that's a little bit of a move. Like that, okay? So you got your there to your B7. Then you roll out here to grab the D minor G7. And again, if you want, just play the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're off on a C for a measure for the end. Now let's take a look at that on the baritone. For your baritone players, you're coming down through there with your C. Again, at the top, if you substitute like that where we're doing the diminished, you're already used to playing your B7, so you have your C there to your B7. Now for you guys, your second finger, just as it was on the F at the intro, is in exactly the place it needs to grab your D minor, and then you just lift those two fingers and you're already on your G7. So for you guys, it's a C to your B7, make your D minor, and just let go there for your G7. So it sounds like this. Like that, okay? Same thing for you. If that's a little too quick, just hit the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're off on your C. Like that, okay? So let's give this a little playthrough here. We're not going to take this as fast as it really should go. This is something for you to get used to the chord changes and stuff. So we're going to slow it down a little bit. So here we go. From the top. A 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, you can sub that B7. 5 foot 2, eyes of blue. Oh, what those 5 foot could do. Has anybody seen my gal? Turned up nose, turned down hose, never had no other beaux. Has anybody you go. I think a couple stumbles on the words there, but hopefully you have fun with that. There you go.